Hey, welcome in to the David Paisano Show, coming to you on a Monday night. Yeah, it's a Monday. I missed a Friday show, been to that. I missed a Saturday show. Ah, I guess another guy did a show that night. Uh, I don't know if anybody was on last night, but I got in from mowing the yard and I was too tired to even come up with any content. So I just went to bed and took a nap. And anyway, the grass has gotten so tall, we've had some rain, but maybe the rain shut off now. So anyway, don't expect a big crowd. Monday's usually not my night. So anyway, if you're getting a notification, welcome in. If you just are finding the show, great, good to see you. This is where we talk about Forrest Fenn and Finbury and anything that's happened lately and the thrill of the chase. And quite frankly, not much has happened in the thrill of the chase lately. I mean, we've had some more items added to the chest that's going to be up for grabs at Finbury. Again, I may have made a misquote on the dates for this. It's actually on the 21st and 22nd. I think I may have had this event on the 22nd and the 23rd. So if you're making plans based upon my show, I probably gave you the wrong date last week. So anyway, I'm pretty sure it's the 21st and the 22nd. And we just got details last Friday on how and when the treasure hunt is going to start. And apparently, the rest of the poem for the Binbury treasure hunt is going to be released at, I believe, 2 o'clock and this will be at the Jamie Coke area. And you'll get copies of the rest of the poem at this time. And I don't know, I guess you may have to give your phone number out in order to get the actual poem. I guess you can hunt for the treasure without the poem. You might just stumble across it, right? But if you want to have the rest of the poem, and again, supposedly Ben's been giving hints on the Discord channel that he runs in these memes or gifs that's been put out. So if you've been watching that, maybe you've been getting some of this. And he did release the first paragraph of his poem for this treasure chest. But um, Ashley and Ben, sometime between now and Ben Marie, are going to go through the items that are in the chest and maybe some provenance on them, so you know exactly what's up for grabs. Because he's getting stuff in, I guess, and as he gets stuff in, he's adding it to the chest. Now, this might be a good time for me to show him how you can use a 3D printer to print a coin that says the Dude Motel poker chip, and how you can 3D print around a GPS tracking device so that he doesn't accidentally have somebody send him an item that has within it a GPS tracking device, and he then puts this in his treasure chest for us to go look for. Now, you can obviously see the problem with having somebody who would put a GPS tracking device in a treasure chest that was hidden out into the wilds, right? So it makes you wonder, did JCB did any of these treasure hunt creators put a GPS tracking device in any of the things that are out there for, there's treasure inside and the JCB treasure hunts and beyond the map's edge and all this stuff that you're looking, and even Chad Bird. Did any of these people put a GPS tracking device out there in their treasure box so that they can know that it's been found? Now, after about 5 years of the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt, we all decided that, hey, if Forrest Fenn put a tracking device in his treasure, wouldn't the battery or whatever source of energy be gone by now, and that he wouldn't truly know if his treasure's been found, right? Because what's the life expectancy of some of these, tracking devices. When will they stop giving off a signal? Now, we're not going to have to worry about that on this Ben Napple treasure hunt because it's only going to last an hour or 15 minutes. And apparently, there's an air horn involved here. At, at various times, he's going to announce some additional clues. Now, this is where the team treasure hunters will obviously have an advantage. Even though there's limited cell service up there in the Pecos Jamie Coke area, so that if you get a new clue, you'll have to go to your car or mini bike or whatever, drive a little bit, find cell service until you can get to a place where you can tell the rest of your members, where it's hidden or what the new clue is. But the problem is they might be searching an area with no cell service. So this is the fun of treasure hunting in an area with limited or sketchy cell service, is that the team approach is going to have a defined place to meet up to discuss clues if they don't immediately find it, and the next clue gets announced. So I mean, there's got to be a bunch of strategy sessions right now on how they're going to manage this limited cell service issue. And they mentioned the fact that you ought to bring a set of walkie talkies. Man, I haven't heard the word walkie talkie since like 1970. But really, a walkie talkie might be the only way in which they could communicate if their cellular network is not going to allow them to talk amongst team members. And so this might level the playing field for an individual player like me who has no team to strive to find this elusive treasure box. So I'm just thinking out, some of the logistics that are involved in this treasure hunt and how, if you're in a team and there's going to be additional clues and you don't find it right off the bat, how you're going to manage your team in order to get players back so you can communicate with them. I just gave them a big tip right there because I don't think any of these people know what they're getting into. Now, for those of us who were there last year, and you may have seen me in the video that Nomadic Madman put together, and I was not using a fake name that day. I had somebody ask me for my driver's license, and like an idiot, I handed it to them. But anyway, I think that it's going to be interesting how people are going to play this treasure hunt game, based upon the fact that if they don't find it before the first clue, those teams are going to have to figure out how they're going to manage it. Well, Lou Lee is number 1 tonight. Trust the Living's number 2. Jeff's number 3. Whistling Bunghole comes in at the 4 spot. Jeep Girl Jody is number 5. So we got a few people here tonight. But anyway, so, let's say you got your team together and you're going to, let's say you don't find it by the first new clue that comes out. You're going to have to get a predetermined spot where you're going to come back to for that next clue. And maybe everybody's going to come back for the next clue, and that's your plan. I don't know, but I would leave somebody out there. In the past, in my experience, when the Smoky Hill River Festival clues are announced, and there is a team approach, usually they have somebody in the general area, because when it gets down to the end, it's obviously there's going to be in that case, there's usually like 50 people in the general area. But then the next clue happens to be, look for, let's just say the next clue is look for a chlorine tank. Look for a chlorine tank, right? And you might have had 50 people walking around searching for this, but the last clue is a dead giveaway. And so if you don't have an extra person out there, actually boots on the ground, you're going to be at a disadvantage. So Trusted Living is saying Edison developed a battery that lasted 100 years. They were used in railroad crossing lights. Such batteries let out hydrogen sulfide gas and would cause iron to rust a lot, such as a chest key. Well, we're just talking about a treasure hunt that might last 10 years. And I think that a sulfuric battery of such would probably be noticeable out in the wilds, if you will, the wilderness. Uh, and might be highly illegal in a place like Yellowstone National Park. So, okay, going back to this issue, and I do want to talk about this since I brought it up. Throughout the life of Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt, he maintained that he would know when his treasure was found, and that he would know when the treasure was found. Okay, and he also could tell you that it had not been found. So, based upon the information that we got from the Nooker group and the Rudy Stick, what in that photograph of the treasure in situ tells you that Forrest Fenn was being honest when he said that he would know when his treasure was found? What in that photograph of the image of the chest in situ tells you that he could have known exactly when it was found? Not only that, what in that photograph of the treasure in situ with the items in the box and the detritus around it, what shows you in that image that Forrest would have known if his treasure had moved from the time he put it there? I don't see how he was being truthful in that statement that he'd made for years about he would know when the treasure was found, because there's no evidence in that photograph of anything that would have tipped him off that his treasure had been found. Now, Jack decided to make a whirlwind trip to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and have the chest inventoried, if you will, by Zoe or somebody. But what was the need for that? What was the need for any of that? Nor was there anything on the top of the chest of the picture in situ that would lead you to believe that it wouldn't have been found earlier just by accidental discovery. Anyway, these are just things that I bring up that are always troubling to me about the way in which the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt was found, and the pronouncement that people like Justin Posey and people like John Collins Black make, and where they tell you and they make all these statements that they will know when their treasure's found, or they might not know when the treasure's found. I mean, how can you know with certainty? I don't think you can know with certainty if you truly put it out in the wilderness. I don't think there's any way to know for certainty that it's been found. Uh, but anyway, Luli's got the limp today, uh, and people are wishing her well. Trusted says nothing in photograph. However, if uh, out on private property, permission would have to be granted in order to enter in there. Well, yes, but Jack, did not. Well, I guess Jack did not say where he found the treasure, right? It's only the Nooker group that said it was at the 9 Mile Hole. But my point is, I don't care whether Nooker group or Jack or anybody says they found this chest, because the photo that got released of a picture of the chest in situ did not lead me to believe that Forrest had any way of knowing his treasure was found. I didn't see a tracking device. Now, okay, so just to play the advocate of the devil here, okay, well, he had a game camera put up, or he had a cellular camera feed, or he had a tripwire, or he had something that would notify him. A bell. Maybe put a bell there. Anyway, so, but I guess, I guess he could have had a camera on it, but he would have had to be able to see it for like 10 years, and if it wasn't found in Yellowstone National Park and it was found somewhere else, and just the Nooker group made that up at 9 Mile Hole, let's say it was found somewhere else. There would have had to been some sort of surveillance camera there for him to know that it was gone. I mean, how else would you know that it had left the area? Because I didn't see anything in the photograph that indicated a tracking device was there of any type. Well, anyway, that brings us to the point I'm going to make about the 3D printed or Venetti's chest. Who's to say that the person that made all these Venetti's chests didn't actually put tracking devices in them in case one of the people that bought them were going to be using them for a future treasure hunt? Now, this is probably where John Collins Black was smart in having a third party design and make his treasure boxes. Uh, we don't really know what the container is. We don't really know what the container is. I don't think we know what the container is for the Justin Posey treasure hunt, so we're not really sure what we're looking for. But in the case of Ben Baree and in the case of Ben Napple's treasure hunt, we absolutely know what we're looking for, unless he makes a announcement between now and when the treasure hunt starts that says you're looking for a proxy item, and that would be a game changer. That could be a game changer right there, because if he indeed uses a proxy item instead of the actual chest for his treasure hunt, then all this concern we might have about somebody sending him or slipping in a coin or something that's actually a GPS tracker into the items that got sent to him, we can eliminate that argument that, oh, well, somebody sent him an item that had a GPS tracker in it and they just went and picked it up. You know, so maybe he will put out a proxy item. I'm thinking he's just going to stick his shovel in the ground somewhere, randomly walk away from it, and tell us that he put the treasure out there and he hasn't seen it. If I was doing the Ben Napple treasure hunt, honestly, I think I would take the Forrest Fenn shovel and I would go just place it in the ground somewhere out in Hyde Park, and that would be the proxy item. And if you found the shovel, you found the chest. And then you would take the shovel back and you would get the prize. And then he could go around in the next 3 weeks saying, well, I can't tell you if it's buried or not. I watched a video. I watched a video the other day in preparation of this, and I've been out in my yard digging holes just to practice digging up treasure, because I haven't actually used a spade in a while. So I was watching videos this week trying to make sure that I knew how to dig with the spade properly to not hurt my back. And one of the videos I think was the best one. And in this video, the guy went out, he took his brand new spade out of the back of his pickup. He walked over to a relatively soft area, and he poked it. Poked it in the ground, and then he put both of his feet on it, and he went and stood on the shovel, and then got off of the shovel, and then he proceeded to walk back to his pickup, get back in the pickup, and drive off. And this was the foolproof way to ensure that you don't hurt yourself digging holes with a spade. I thought it was a pretty instructional video. Oh man, no LOLs on that. Not even a single one. Oh, yeah. Hi at down your tube, down your tube. Oh, down your tube. Oh man, when the LOL comes that late after the joke, that's a pity LOL. I don't want sympathy and pity LOLs. I want real ones. Well, maybe I'll try this joke. I'll try this joke. So I was watching YouTube again this week, and I saw this video where this boy in Texas had basically been abused by his family. His father hit him and beat him, and so the judge the judge took this extraordinary step of seeing if he could find somebody that could take care of the child. And he ended up interviewing the grandfather. And when he interviewed the grandfather, they thought he'd be okay. But when they asked the 14-year-old boy if he wanted to live with his grandfather, the boy said, every time I've been over to his house, he's beat me just as bad as my dad. So the judge said, well, I guess we won't put you with him. Then they tried this uncle, and the kid said, well, when I've been over to my uncle's place, and uh, he was worse than my father. And so the judge went through all the different family members to see if he could find one that would be suitable to place this kid into. And and he talked to the kid, and the kid had a couple of ideas about who he could go live with, and uh, he felt like he'd be safe. And the judge agreed, and so the judge reached out and contacted those people to find out if it would be okay. And reluctantly, I guess they agreed because there was nobody else that could possibly help in this matter. And so, in a stunning ruling, a one of a kind in the nation, the Texas judge and the child uh, agreed to be placed with the Dallas Cowboys football team. And apparently, the judge thought this was a great idea because the Dallas Cowboys haven't beat anybody in the last 10 years. And so he felt that this might just work out. Boo! Yes. Can we get Bill and call it Camp Moses? Oh, I'd love to see Bill. I'd love to see Bill and the cowboy car show up at Ben Berea. There are rumors that possibly this Ben Berea might have some of the people that are were the high profile YouTubers in the community, and I think some of them just have an interest in finding that chest. And I don't know, like Tyler and maybe Candy and a few other people. I even heard rumors that Steve Klein might even come to Finbury. But anyway, I just think all those people in Ohio ought to get in somebody's car and drive out to Santa Fe. And if they make it all the way out to Santa Fe, then I think we'd want to see them. Anyway, maybe Sparkplug will make it. I don't know. Uh, Mr. Olson is bringing his David Spade to Finbury. Well, I am planning on bringing a fake. I'm bringing a fake Forrest Fenn shovel to Finbury. You can have your picture taken with it if you'd like. It's going to be an imposter chest. It's going to be the second shovel, if you will. You know, we heard of the second chest theory and all that stuff. This will be the second shovel, if you will. Uh, but I might change my mind and just bring a pitchfork. I might change my mind and bring a pitchfork. If I I truly would bring a pitchfork uh, to Ben Berea and allow people to do the American Gothic pose in front of the Jamie Cook Pavilion with the shovel, or not shovel, with the pitchfork. But I'm really kind of scared about the sharp points on a pitchfork and somebody accidentally impaling themselves on it. And, like the old picture of the guy in the cartoon walking around, and then he steps on the rake and the rake comes up and hits him in the face. I'm afraid I'm reluctant to bring a pitchfork because I think something bad could happen. Now with the shovel, yeah, it's kind of sharp on one end, but if it falls over, it kind of stays in the ground, and it doesn't have like three tines. If somebody accidentally runs into a spade, it's not going to go through the lungs, the heart, the liver, and the innards, if you will. And so I'm probably not going to bring a pitchfork. Oh, that's my utensil of choice. There's Kiwi. Long time no see to somebody. Uh, Jeep Girl's got a special camping shovel. Uh, the whistling bunghole is asking the age-old question. Uh, do you know if you can bury a shovel with a shovel? Hmm, that one shovel might not be too happy at the other shovel. Anyway, uh, so Bill's got 6 dogs and expecting puppies in a week. If I go to Finbury, I need dates for each dog. You need dates for each dog. You mean babysitters or a dog sitter? Well, we'd love to see you bring the cowboy car. I'm sure everybody would have fun. Uh, Dress of Living says an iron or steel tool could seriously damage a bronze chest. Well, yeah, this is my point of bringing a. I could bring a potato fork. I could bring a potato fork. They're not nearly as sharp, and uh, the blades are a lot wider on a potato fork. What the least intrusive one might be a coal shovel. Does anybody in here actually know what a coal shovel looks like? And a coal shovel might be the solution to this problem. But anyway, I'm just here to stoke the fires. So anyway, back to this chest that Ben's giving away. Now, let's say you work with 3 partners, right? You work with 3 partners and you successfully find the Bimbury chest. How do you split up the baby? Judge, we're here to determine the fate of a chest that was found. Who gets custody of it? If you're working on a team, how and do you share custody of a Chris Jones chest? How do you share custody of this? Is this like the Stanley Cup, where each member of the team gets to have the Forrest Fenn chest that was found at Benbury by a 3-member team? Do each one of them get to have it for 4 months out of the year? Well, how's this going to work out? Well, I get it for Valentine's Day. I get it for the 4th of July, but I get it for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, where I get to show it to everybody I know during the most busy part of the year. Yeah, so I suggest anybody that's hunting in a team, each one of them bring a pitchfork and settle this before you find it. Or I guess you could just play rock, paper, scissors for it. But I mean, is this a custody agreement? What's on a timeshare? Well, the first year, you'll get it January, February, March, and April. The next year, you'll get it in May, June, July, and August. And then the third year, you'll get it September, October, and November and December. So the 3-person team takes 3 years for you to actually get a full year custody of it. Now, let's say one of them wants to sell it. So, Jack, did you have a partner? Was it you that wanted to sell it? Or was you and Justin hunting together and Jack decided to sell the contents or Justin had to sell the contents? Or was it Jack and Justin selling the contents? I don't know. But anyway, uh, now how are you going to split up the items in the chest? Is this a Rochambeau game again? Is it a snake draft? I mean, how are you going to split up all these little things that are in that chest? Do you want the dude poker coin? Do you want the gold dust? What do you want out of the chest if you're on a multi-person team? So anyway, I'm not trying to get all the teams to disband and make this a rat race. Well, maybe I am, but anyway, I'm just wondering how that would all work. Uh, the bunghole says that the chest is a good dust collector, and it would be best to sell it. Yeah, I don't know. Bill says hot bronze is the blaze. Rust is iron oxide. It's used to make brown and red paint pigments. Uh, Well, I guess that could work. Yeah, so I don't know. There's some logistical issues. Once you find this chest, are you just going to run away with it and not tell Ben you found it? How are the taxes going to be handled on this uh, Venetti's chest if it's found and it's reported as being found? Um, hmm. I don't know. Same issues we had with Forrest Fenn's, only in a smaller venue. So I've always wondered if the chest that was or the I've always wondered if that prize that was found at the Beyond the Map's Edge get together out in Arizona, if if information was gathered for a 1099 for that, and if so, okay, here's the next issue. Let's say you find something in a team. Who's going to accept the 1099 for it and run it through the taxation process as having a windfall? Who on your team's going to volunteer to sign the document that you got something that you found and it was a prize in a contest and you get a form to fill out from the government? Who's going to report it? Well, I guess if you want to have a claim to ownership, you should be the one that volunteers and says, "Hey, I'll be the one that volunteers to have the document that in my name and I'll pay the taxes on it." And you're in the pole position to rat out your neighbors or your friends. Remember, in treasure hunting, there are no rules. There are no rules in a group. The group dynamic eventually rules, you know. Uh, Multiple donors under 15,000 each equals zero gift taxes. Yeah, there are zero gift taxes from the people who put the treasure together. But for the person that finds it, it's unearned income or it's earned income. It's earned income. Yeah, Bill Gorman says Trump is eliminating the IRS. Well, only for his family. The IRS is only being eliminated for Trump and his family. You realize that. It's the rest of us still have to pay taxes, unless you marry into the Trump family. Anyway, wouldn't you have to disclose it as an asset and pay depreciation on it, perhaps? Um, I don't think. It all depends on the value. I'm not sure what the value would be. I don't think you have to disclose it as an asset, but you have to disclose it as income. If you go to the gambling hall and you win a certain amount of money, above a certain amount of money at the casino makes you fill out the documentation so that you have been reported to the government as having this income from the casino. You can then itemize and write off your gambling debts against that, obviously, if you itemize, but still you're going to have to report this at some point. Uh, so, uh, yeah, if you have a car, I don't think Ben's giving away a yacht, but we should check with him. Maybe somebody has donated. I know there's a pair of Sperry topsiders that Shiloh still has for sale. So if you need a pair of topsiders to wear on a boat, you can still get those from Shiloh. But in any event, we're not talking about a car, a truck, etc., where you have to. It's not what's considered personal property. I don't believe in my. Okay, I'm just to say in my state, a Venetti's treasure chest would not rise to the level of declarable personal property. Motorhomes, boats, RVs, campers, utility boxes, motorized vehicles, side by sides. I don't even know in the state of Kansas if you have to declare a side by side as personal property or not. Four wheelers, I don't. But I don't know about four wheelers. But anyway, if it's something like that, yes, indeed, you have to, declared as personal property. There may be other states that tax everything you have that's personal property. So the picture on the wall, personal property. The computer, personal property. You have to put it all on the list. God, that'd be an administrative nightmare. But anyway, I'm just saying if you hunt in a group, you have to come up with a plan on handling your taxation. Okay. Now the next thing is how are you going to get it out of the park? Now, how are you going to get it out of there? Are you going to just put it in your car? Are you going to conceal it in some way? Uh, are you going to jump up and down and make a lot of noise the minute you find it, and so as to draw a bunch of attention to yourself? And I'm just sitting here thinking about Jack. Jack, did he make an utterance? Was there somebody there to hear an utterance about him finding it? I don't know what time of day he was searching for this. Okay, so now the rules of the Jamie Cope Pavilion area at the park is you either have to be at your campsite, like after 9 o'clock, or out of the park completely. Now, if you're camping, obviously you will have more freedom of doing night reconnaissance for the chest, if you will, or the proxy item, or whatever it is you're looking for at this point. I did that in Forrest Fenn treasure hunt. I did some 2 o'clock in the morning sleuthing and 10 degree below zero temperature. It was just me and the snow rabbits, and an occasional howl of a coyote out there. But it was just me and the snow rabbits and the occasional coyote howl out looking for the treasure. And it was a full moon, so it was one of those treasure hunting nights where you could see forever because there's snow on the ground. Uh, in the vehicle, why would you have to claim anything to anyone? Well, because there's always people there that will make sure that your state knows that you got a windfall. If they don't get the windfall themselves, there's always people in these contests that make sure that stuff gets reported. I mean, come on now. Sour grapes are a universal drink. But anyway, well, it's 37 minutes and 20 seconds into the David Paisano show, and people are probably dropping off to see what the K-Pro Calazar show has to offer. And there's not a whole lot of crossover here anymore between my show and other shows. So not terribly worried about everybody leaving and going somewhere else. But I guess I'll hang on for a few more minutes. I've still got a good half of this beer left to drink. So I, got to finish drinking that. Does anybody have any topics they'd like to discuss? I haven't actually done topics to discuss in a long time. Bill Gorman says Barbara Brown won the Benetti's chest at the 2019 Finbury. She couldn't find anybody who would even pay $1,000 for it. I don't believe that, Bill Gorman. I don't believe that for a second. I don't think so. Where was this chest offered for sale? Uh, I know that the lady that got the coin at the Jamie Jordan get together put it on eBay, and I bid on it. I had the high bid, and she took the auction down before it was over. And when I asked her about it the next Finbury, she said, "Oh, it wasn't bringing enough. I just couldn't sell it for what your bid was." So we took the auction down. Well, I looked at Jamie and I said, "Jamie, do you think that's really fair? I mean, you say you loved Forrest Fenn and you're selling Search for Coin, what, number two, that was numbered, and you're not going to sell it because you didn't get enough money out of it? And the community gave you how much money? What the fuck's wrong with you?" I mean, that was crazy. I couldn't believe she had the balls to take the auction down when the thing wasn't bringing enough for something she'd gotten for free, along with a whole bunch of other stuff and money. I don't know. Maybe her husband Bill put her up to it. I don't know. All I know is that was just the weirdest. That was the weirdest conversation I ever had with another human being about something on eBay. Seriously, why would you offer it for sale and then take the auction down when it's not bringing enough and you got it for free? I don't know. Don't know. Hey, there's Spark Plug Sparky. How's it going? Well, I listened to you the other night on another person's stream, and anyway, kind of interesting. I always thought you were from Santa Fe with your fascination about the Essequia Madre. I figured you were local. So, I think y'all ought to get together and carpool out here or out to Santa Fe. Well, my plan of attack, since I found out the clues are going to be released at 2 o'clock Santa Fe time, is I will be getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I will be boarding my car, my pickup, and I will be driving from 3 in the morning until about, should be able to get there close to, I'm hoping 2 o'clock. And then I'm going to hop out, get the clues, and go pick up the treasure. And if I find it, I'm just driving back home. Just going to drive back home. Okay, so so now you know my plan. I'm going to have to actually research this. I know how long it takes to get to New Mexico, but I think the drive down to Santa Fe, and then there's all this slow driving in the Pecos. It may take me an extra hour just to get off of 50 and then head into the Pecos wilderness to get to the Jamie Coke. So I may have to get up at 2. Hell, I might just stay up all night. Maybe I'll do a show. I guess I could just do a show like Friday night, or no, Thursday. I just could do a show on the 20th at like 10 o'clock. And then when I get done streaming at like 11:15, I can just take off, drive out there and take a little nap when I get there and then get going. But I'm probably going to have to break down and buy a hotel room for at least one night, maybe 2 nights. I really don't want to have to do 2-night hotel, but I'm pretty cheap. I need a shower every couple days. But I could make it 3 days, I guess. Sponge bath it, I guess. Anyway, too much information? Anyway. So Bill Gorman says that Miss Brown, she traded the chest for a rock. I don't know if that was a diamond or what. Well, maybe she traded it for the Finn rock. I don't know. I think Chris Jones selling these chests for either 10,000 each or 20,000 or something like that. I can't really remember. It's been a long time. Lily Bell wants to know, do you think it will be a bigger group than last year? I think it might be a different group, honestly. It might be a different group. I think it has the potential of being a little bit bigger. I really don't think there'll be a lot of repeat customers. There might be some. I mean, Nomadic might come back. I've already talked to a couple of people about whether they're going and that were there last year, and one of them was in a fairly large group of people, and they all came together. And I don't think that group will be back. I don't, because they wanted to go see the gallery, and I think they did that on that trip. There's a local that'll probably be there. I don't. A Nomadic might be there. I don't think Tigger will be there again. She was pretty interesting to talk to. I haven't seen Tigger in chat for over a year. I haven't seen Tigger on any of the blogs in over a year. And so I don't think Tigger will be there. So there's a few people that I don't think will come back, but then I know there might be a few new people who are interested in this chest, like this Mama something cute person who posts a lot on bins, and this Tyler person, and there's a few people on the Discord that I don't think were there last year that are probably going to be there this year because the chest, this Shiloh donated chest is going to be a draw for some people. And so I think it will bring in some new people. You would really have to ask Ben on his Discord what he thinks. The last posting he had on the Discord when somebody asked this question was he felt that maybe be about the same as last year, maybe some more. But then again, maybe he was trying to limit the number of people there so it would give me a better chance of finding it and winning it. Or maybe the in crowd, if you will. I don't know. So $7,000 was the lowest priced chest you could get from Benetti's. I suppose certain numbers might have been priced around 10 or higher. So Barbara is no longer talking to anybody because she doesn't. She felt like the Forrest Fenn experience was bad for her. Well, I don't even know who this Barbara is. So anyway, uh, uh, Lily wants to know about Cynthia's relationships. I don't know. I think it would take a special feather to get that to happen. But anyway, I don't. Okay, so the whole Cynthia K Pro, Justin Posey, Nooker, Amy Seeks, etc., etc. I don't think any of that group's going to be there. I don't. I don't think any of. I don't think Sasha or Jason. Sasha was involved a lot in the original Fembreeze, but she was living in Albuquerque at the time, and I think her and her husband are in Oklahoma now, possibly. Not trying to dox anybody, but I think that's the general area of the. They're no longer locals to New Mexico. How's that? As far as I know, they may have moved back, but there's been no knowledge of them. And some of these people that used to come, like Illinois Ghost, and uh, some of the people that were in the movie The Lure, used to be at these Fenbury's, and uh, I don't, the days where you had 250, 300 people show up at Hyde Park, those are long gone. There's not going to be that many people. I don't even know how many people were at the Fin finale up in Yellowstone. Yellowstone's Fin finale was a bridge too far for me. Holy cow! Do you realize how long that would have been? That's a week. That's a whole week commitment for me. That's 2 days up, 2 days back, 1 day there. I just couldn't devote that amount of time to a function in the junction. I mean, no offense, Luli, but I mean it's just too far for an event for me. I mean, I'm driving 9.5, 10 hours just to go to Ben Baree one way. Barbara Brown won the drawing for a replica chest at. It's in the video. Sasha uh, calls her name as the winner. Yeah, I don't doubt any of this. I remember they were giving away a chest. I mean, they gave away a signed book uh, by most of the searchers that were at one of the Finburies, and I think it was palmed. I think it was palmed. Honestly, I don't think this was a legitimate drawing. I think it was palmed, and I think who was it? Seattle Sullivan won that, and Seattle Sullivan, was the guy that possibly living in his car. Anyway, the whole thrill of the chase and all these treasure hunts, attract a certain group of people, and it's a diverse group of people. Don't get me wrong, and it generally is a good group of people that really don't have a lot of uh, problems, uh, except it attracts some people that are in destitute situations, and they get gold fever, and what I mean by that is that people get attracted to these treasure hunts that can't really afford to be spending money on leisure and travel looking for a treasure that they may or may not find. And some people are using this as a desperate attempt in order to get themselves out of a financial situation where they're not truly whole, and it just digs their hole deeper. Um, And then on the other side, there are these people like Katja, who I think by and large was in the jet set, and she gets involved in it because something for her to do is a challenge, right? And so then you have the professors of the world that have more time than money, or they have more time and money than they do sense, and they're making a good money. They don't really need to find this treasure, but they just think they're smarter than everybody else and they can find it. And that's, I think, kind of what Cynthia falls into, Justin falls into. So there's a group of people in these treasure hunts who have financial well-being beyond what they need. They're rich already, okay? But this is like gonna find this and show everybody that I'm smarter than everybody else. I've got the finger pointing back at me. I mean, I'm not rich, right? But I'm not scraping up my last dollar to go buy a $50 book in order to find a treasure. Okay, so I'm not there. But I mean, I will only spend a certain amount of time on leisure and travel and hobbies, and this became my obsession. And now I'm 26 years in, 23 years into this obsession. And, it hasn't cost me a lot financially, but emotionally, mentally, time wise, I spent a quarter of my life on this, approaching a third. And that's absurd. It's absurd. It's absurd to spend a third of your life on one thing. Hell, I haven't spent that much of my life on a business career. I only worked for 10 years in a corporate setting, and I spent what, 7 years in the educational system. And so I haven't went back to that for another 13 years of punishment, right? So nor have I went back to the day job world for another 10 years of punishment. But I continue my punish myself with this. I continue to punish myself with this. 6 hours to me, too not, too bad, too far, too long. Well, so anyway, on that note of obsession and desire and all of this stuff. But there's different levels of obsession. I mean, honestly, going boots on the ground, 200 times or 300 times or 600 times. No, my boots on the ground was not the obsession. But from 2013 to 2015, did I spend a lot of time on this in the winter? I did. I did. I researched the hell out of this thing. And then in 2015, I finally decided I have enough information that Forrest has given us in the scrapbooks on the old Santa Fe Trading Company website and the Moby Dickens interview and another interview. I had enough information to go look for the treasure. So I had the poem and all those interviews. I didn't buy the book until 2016, late 2016, 2017. And I was almost done with my boots on the ground searching before I bought the book. Now hold on. I would have to look at my timeline. I may have not actually ever went boots on the ground searching after I bought the book. I can't remember. God, it's been so long. I can't remember. I can't remember. It's been so long. I can't remember if I was done doing my boots on the ground investigation before I bought the book or after. Uh, it, you know, uh, I need to. I wonder if I kept that receipt. When I buy a book, I usually put the receipt in the book so I know when I bought it, kind of like a book plate. I don't know if I put. I don't know if I have that in the book when I bought my first Forrest Fenn book. I insisted that Forrest autograph it though, or at least write. So I got one off the pile that Forrest had already signed, or Cynthia, or K-Pro. I don't even know who signed this book. It could have been K-Pro. It could have been Cynthia. It might have been the lady at the bookstore. Hell, it could have been the clerk at the front counter. I just said, "Could you please give me an autograph in this book from Forrest Fenn?" That's all I got was Forrest Fenn. I stopped searching after my. Oh, I stopped. I'm sorry to hear that. But at least you had those searches together before. Uh, then there was semi-retired Mason that went back to work while solving the poem. Now fully retired. Well, there. See, part-time, had money, wasn't worried about the next meal. Uh, Trusted said he went boots on the ground about 8 or 9 times. I went about six or seven times. No, that's not true. I just wanted to say 6, 7 and juggle my hands. I think that fad's over, by the way. It may not be. I don't know. All right. Let's see. So I was going to talk about teams. I was going to talk about the treasure chest, the start time, driving out there, um, how I was going to take it and not tell Ben I found it. I don't know. Any questions? I mean, that's about it. I think I covered my agenda for the most part. Things I was going to. Spark plug went twice. Cody was 7 miles from town. After they crashed, they got wet, and it was a long, cold walk home. So I think Bill's pointing out that the search parameters for where most of the clues were was a 7 mile area. I don't necessarily disagree with that. Living life to the fullest. That's right. We should live life to the fullest. And so, I mean, how many minutes until I get? I got 3 minutes left, and I get paid for a full Forrest Fenn payday. So I need to fill up 3 more minutes. 30 plus years cancer in remission's a pretty nice accomplishment. You know, my mom had colon cancer twice. I don't think the doctor diagnosed properly or found all of it the first time because she went in like a year and a half or a year later, and they found another cancer. They went and took that one out, and she's been doing pretty good. I haven't counted the years, but it's probably been 10, 11, 12 years since her surgery. So uh, she's been, I guess, doing pretty good. Uh, Luli says that don't forget to Tony Eunice my video because YouTube likes it when you give them a thumbs up, or you can give me a thumbs down. I'm pretty open to up or down. So is there anybody here in the chat going to Ben Marie? Anybody in the room going to Ben Marie? Yeah, I mean, if Forrest Fenn was absolutely truthful when he told you that if you could identify the home of Brown, you could go right to the treasure. So if you, I guess trusted if your fish was a brown trout, there could be hundreds of thousands of possible trouts. But if you correctly identified, you know, the correct if you correctly identified the brown, you could seriously you can't I think you could seriously go to the treasure. I mean, the web of deceit here was not terribly thick. I mean, it was fairly transparent. Um, if you figured out the clues. Has anybody seen Spider-Man yet? Because your spidey senses, if you have your spidey senses working correctly, you can find the treasure Forrest was truthful in basically all of these things he said, in my opinion. Um, and I think if the solve ever comes out, uh, and that's my hope is that the solve will come out and Forrest can be vindicated for all of his mojo, spidey sense statements that he made over time, and they'll totally be understood. But I don't think the solve's ever going to come out, and so without the solve, you can't go back and say, well, what the fuck did he mean when he said if your spidey sense is working? You know, Jeep Girl might be at the Berea. Well, that'd be fun to see you. Uh, I need to go to the Palisades and get a box of peaches. They'll probably be over by then. Anyway. Um, Fun and answers are in Bill Gorman's upcoming book called Once Upon a While. Forrest made me write a book. Hey, there's the treasure warriors. Uh, you might add to the conversation anything about Finbury. We've been discussing the treasure hunt and my plans to find the treasure and the teams that are going to be working to find the treasure. So if you've got any good stuff, oh yeah, uh, there's going to be Ben saying in or the treasure warriors are saying in the chat. There's going to be some catering from barbecue from a Santa Fe place, in addition to the grilling of burgers, brats, ribs, etc. So, not only homemade food, but Santa Fe made food uh, in the opportunity here. Yeah, yeah, it was good seeing you guys last year. You're a good group of people. Anyway, so any news on the attendance? We had somebody ask earlier whether they thought there'd be more people at the event this year or less, and I summarized by saying that it might be about the same number of people, but it might be different people, and some of the ones from last year, but probably not all of the ones from last year. Some new faces, if you will. So I mean, I said I thought there'd be more. I honestly said I thought there'd probably be more, but anyway, uh, there's the kid. Hey, good to see you. I just realized you were at Benbury last year in the Nomadic Madman's video. So anyway, uh, see, Lily's asking again how many people are going to be there. Trust the Lynn says he goes straight to it, but that was because he nailed down the warm waters halt. Yeah, that's true. And in the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt, there was only one opportunity to submit the final answer. It was kind of like Jeopardy, Is that your final answer? And then you had to say, yes, that's my final answer. I'm going boots on the ground. Boots on the ground was your final answer for the Forrest Fenn Jeopardy test. Spark plug, you wouldn't know anything about Brown until you understand the warm waters halt. Nah, not true. Not true. Forrest was completely honest in the Barry interview where he's talking to Barry, and you said that I wouldn't want to be your insurance agent. You know, if you know the Brown, Homer Brown, you can go right to it. He's absolutely truthful about that because the put in is below the Homer Brown, and that's getting close to the end of the puzzle, in my opinion. You know, Trust the Living went for door number 3. Yeah, sometimes door number 2 doesn't turn out quite the way you think. Uh, well, here you go. Here's factual information. The RSVPs are around 60 right now, uh, and another 40. So we're talking maybe 100. I have an RSVP, but I'm planning on going. I mean, unless something changes around here on the farm. But I mean, I plan on being there. I hoping to make a hotel reservation sometime this week. Got to come up with a location. Anyway, uh, so but anyway, I appreciate the information. How many people you think are going to be there? That was kind of the main question in the chat tonight on what the over under was. But anyway, uh, Hey, we could get some action on that. Put up a poll. All right. Well, I've officially made my commitment to Chase Inc. For a 1 hour show. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to let this show stand for last week and I have to do another show in order to get my show every weekend, or whether they're just going to let me have that last week off and count this one towards the total quota. I don't know. I'll have to get in contact with Chase Inc. after the show to find out whether this qualifies or not. But anyway, so Trust of Living says that the home of Brown for him was Pueblo, Colorado, and put in below were the wet mountains straight down Route 78. Well, in my solution, Trust of Living, in the book The Thrill of the Chase, Forrest Fenn talks about how, or in some genre, he says that you shouldn't trust the government. Uh, Actually, that's La Junta, by the way. Sorry, the government. But there is a Pueblo, if you will, idea here, and that you realize next to Pueblo is the Cherokee National Grasslands. And when he wrote the story about chasing chickens in Texas, the story was really about him eliminating the national grasslands there in Colorado and telling you that that wasn't the place. Because that was kind of what that story was leading to, in my opinion. No, I just made that up. I don't know. I just made that up. But there is like some grasslands around Pueblo, and I think Pueblo means the people, if you will. But Buffett had a song called "Door Number 3." Didn't know that. So Bill's got 6 dogs and new pups coming next week. He's going to make it a day trick because the dogs are too much for the event. Yeah, I don't know whether we can find some dog sitters or not. Uh, I'm sure you'd like to have some people adopt those dogs for a fee. Uh, the puppies wouldn't be old enough to wean anyway. So anyway, yeah, it's hard. It would be hard to get to an event and have that many puppies for sure. So anyway, but yeah, I'd love to see everybody. I mean, I wouldn't even mind seeing Street. Well, maybe I don't know. But you should probably ask Ben if Barbara's welcome. I'm not going to speak for that anyway. Uh, I don't know. Yeah, Zozo. Hey, Zozo. I'd love to see you there. Uh, I think you're close. You're not too far away, are you? Uh, anyway, anybody that doesn't go to this that lives in Santa Fe, Albuquerque, or close, I think you all need to come. If you're close, I'm making a 9.5 hour drive. That's a commitment. So, I think if you're close, you got to go. Well, here's Bill's puppy mill cell. He's got 3 pups, a year old and 7 month old and a 4 month old. So there you are. Jack and Jill, they're an attractive couple when it comes to dogs. So I'm sure the litter doesn't look too bad. Trust the Living uses the poem, a map, and physics and logic. Well, those are some good things. As long as you didn't use any head pressures or uh, I don't know what was in that list of things that weren't required to find the chest. Oh man, Sozo. Man, I wish you could make it. Yeah, that's a rough situation. Jeff's wondering whatever happened with the pool. Well, according to Janet Pirro, the contractor did a shoddy job and they oversprayed the paint on the bottom of the pool. And it wasn't that bicycle rider after all that damaged the pool. It was some contractor failing to do a good job. So you know, it was the contractor's fault, not the guy that the bicycle rider that was an Olympian, that kind of thing. Oh, Bill's got pups with single blue eyes. Is that rare in that breed or is that common? I know Dalmatians sometimes are deaf, so anyway. Yeah, I think the house is more important than the yard for sure. Lap Aussies. I'll have to look that up, see what that breed is. All right, folks, you've been great. Glad you could join me for an hour tonight, an extra 10 minutes. Always enjoy getting together, talking about Forrest Fenn and Forrest Fenn events, and things that are happening out there. And everybody stay cool. It's going to warm up here. It's going to be over 100 again. Got a little humidity coming in. So, stay warm or stay warm, not hot, I guess. And enjoy your surroundings. Look forward to seeing people that might be at Finbury this year. And if I come up with something to talk about in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I will do it. Anyway. All right, y'all. Have a good night. I'm signing off. Yeah, and if anybody's suffering from any ailments, hope you all get well, as Jeff is wishing. So as Lawrence Welk would say, good night. I can play that out. I can play that as an outro, maybe. We'll say that for later. Treasure Warriors, thanks for stopping by.